I'm Laura. I am mum to Annie, Lily and Jessie, wife to Mark. We have lived in Eltham for the last 2.5 years, almost 3 years. I've been part of Emmanuel for almost 11 years, and I'm an assistant head at a school in Greenwich. I came to faith as a teenager. I'd grown up in a Christian household. My mum had taken me and my sister to church throughout our childhood. And when I was about 13 or 14, I started going to a much bigger church. And it was there that I made a commitment to Jesus for myself. I was baptised at 15. And yeah, I feel very fortunate that the Lord has always had his kind of hand over my life, and that I've been able to just build my faith on really firm foundations. And I'm really thankful for my mum and what she did in terms of providing that foundation for me. Mark and I, my husband, got married in 2010. And as much as I love my job and I'm really passionate about teaching, I've always wanted to be a mum. And when we felt that the time was right as a married couple, we started trying for a baby. And I think when we started that process, I think maybe I was a little bit naive to how things could be. I think, you read the Bible and, God's command is to go forth and multiply and, bring children into the world. And actually, I don't think I was very, I guess maybe I was just naive to maybe some of the hardships of that. We've been very fortunate in the past 8 years that we have fallen pregnant 5 times, but I only have 3 living children. So we have been through baby loss, and unfortunately, due to some stuff that is going on in my body, I've had maybe a real mountain to climb in terms of bringing babies into the world. So when I was born with kind of like a congenital defect, which has meant that anatomically things have been a bit more complex. And after we lost our first baby and then fell pregnant with our second, we went through quite a challenging start to that pregnancy, and I really struggled, I guess, for faith. At that point, I was in a place where I just didn't trust that there was going to be a happy outcome. And I remember sitting in my kitchen in our old flat with some friends from Emmanuel Church, and I was just praying. I was saying to them, I just feel really hopeless. And they prayed for me, and they just asked God to come and give me a peace. And whilst I was pregnant with this baby, God gave me a dream, and he gave me the name of a baby. And it wasn't a name that I'd ever anticipated or had thought of before, and the name was Annie. And I went away and read what the meaning of that name was, and it meant God has favoured me. And I think that was a real changing point for me, that God was saying to me, I've got you in this. And when Annie was born, she was very poorly, and we had to have faith in God that he would pull us through. And obviously we've gone on to have more children, and that's not something that I thought maybe would be possible. After going through everything that we went through with Annie, choosing to have another baby was quite a big decision. So when we fell pregnant with Lily, I was under a lot kind of more closer care. Again, I had to really have trust that God was in it, that I felt like I couldn't trust my own body, but again, God repeatedly told me, I've got you in this. And Lily arrived safely into this world. 4 years later, we conceived another baby, which we'd gone through a real heart process of do we try again for another baby? And I remember sitting down and praying and saying to God, you've seen everything, Lord. You've seen all of the hardships. You've seen all of the joy. I just don't know if my heart can take much more. So if I'm stepping out of the boat into this, like, you've got to have me. And he just brought me back to that verse in Romans about going through tribulation, and tribulation producing perseverance, and perseverance producing character, and character producing hope. And it was almost like God was saying, like, I've still got you, even though this has not turned out the way that you thought it was going to turn out. And then we were really fortunate that we conceived Jesse, and my pregnancy again with him was really difficult, and a whole load of historic problems, but also kind of new anxieties and processing, again, loss and disappointment, and where was God in that? And during my pregnancy with him, we were at the height of COVID, and there were scans that Mark couldn't come to. I had to do a lot of it on my own. We got to maybe 2/3 of the way through the pregnancy, and I was told that I had quite a serious condition that was going to put my life, but also the life of baby, at risk. It wasn't easy, but God kept us safe, and he's here. And his name, we've called him Jesse, which means gift, which he definitely feels like he is. And also Jesse means God is real, like, he is here. And I just feel like God's hand over our life has just been so evident. Like, there's very little control that I've been able to have over what's been going on, and yet God has just really reached down and carried us through.